We're there, dude. So apparently, VP Pence and Senator Kamala Harris they had the VP debate the other night, and apparently a fly had landed on VP Pence's head. Hail there, MC. Good to see you. I read your comments. I heard your little spiel. I did have to adjust the audio, but that's fairly within the norms. But it's all right. It's all right. We'll touch on that in just a moment. But yeah, there was basically some verbal fisticuffs, but compared to the President Trump VP Biden debate, it was not quite as much a slobber knocker, if you would. There was interrupting. That totally was a thing. They both engaged in it. I personally, in my opinion, thought the moderator did a decent job. She would ask certain questions of relevance, such as about fracking for Senator Kamala Harris. For those of us that are just like, frickin' fracking what? That's basically when you pump a bunch of chemicals and water into the ground and help release natural gas reservoirs. Environmentalists absolutely hate that. It does deteriorate the environment. I'm not the biggest fan. However, yeah, natural gas is far cleaner burning than other fossil fuels and helped increase the U.S. energy export and industry and helped make us energy independent. Yep, cost benefit analysis right there. You can decide for yourself. I have my own opinions, and again, that would be an opinion. And I think that specifically, when actually we will touch upon that in a moment. VP Pence, on the other hand, we kind of started to go into, well, what's the deal with President Trump? What's the deal with this and that? And VP Pence, as a talented politician, was a talented politician. He did use his time several times to go back for different remarks that he thought were fairly unfair. Again, as an observer that probably listened to like the middle 2/3 to maybe 3/4 or so, actually probably like 2/3. Yeah, again, I have my own opinions just because it really doesn't seem all that exciting. Does there anything come out that really surprised anybody? It's depends on whose side you were on. If you happen to like VP Pence, you're gonna think he basically, I think as Tim Pool said, nuked Kamala Harris from orbit, something along those lines. And if you happen to be more of a fan of the Harris Biden ticket, oh excuse me, Biden Harris ticket, totally not a Freudian slip there or anything. Yeah, it really kind of seemed like, yeah, Senator Kamala Harris demolishes VP Pence. The fly. VP Pence, he's reproducing because a fly landed on it. I said, oh yeah, you see all this stuff around. Does this really surprise anybody? No. No. Chris Wallace, well, Chris Wallace, the way some of those things were framed, I actually probably agree with you, MC. I do think she probably did a bit more of a different job. Again, I had heard from certain sources that Fox News was not necessarily the full-on MAGA network. It doesn't necessarily seem that way. I mean, that could be for a whole multitude of reasons. And again, that's just what I've heard on this internet of stuff and things. But pretty much whoever you were for, your candidate obviously completely won, dominated, and the other side is very silly and or evil and destroying the nation. Because this is where we're at. And let's talk about the state of the nation. This is something that was brought to me by MC, who's down in the chats below. Hail there, Gibbler. Hail Joe. Shout out to my patrons, Joe Franco and Dave M. This broadcast is helped made possible by viewers like you. So apparently, I offended MC. I got under his skin. I got his goat. As a dragon, we like goats. I'm not particularly a big fan of goat. I prefer beef and other things there. I realize animals have feelings too. I don't want to watch that video of the cow because I like meat. Again, point of personal preference. But essentially what happened is I was going through, I think I was going to use a New York Times article, but for some reason I think I used the CNN. Okay, it was recently updated like 28 minutes ago. And this is something that Tim Pool does bring up a lot. You look at the framing of the article. They did bring in a whole bunch of the right wing, the far right. And it's like, you look at the group and it's like, I did hear some other folks say this. I'm like, all right. And again, I didn't really spend my due diligence really looking at, which I probably should have and everything. I mean, if I get up to that amount of revenue where I can do this full time, I would totally love to do that. That would be cool. But right now, I'm currently trying to help America doing things, and I'm lifting things up and putting them down. That's another story in and of itself. Hey there, Wookie. I see you there, Wookie. Welcome, welcome. But yes, this is where we're at. So what is actually happening is, and I say this all the time, and yet I make the same mistake. It's like, well, we need to try to understand other people. Okay, what was I very easily doing? I was very easily dismissing conservatives. Why? Because, well, I say I'm more of kind of a leftish guy and everything like that, and I tend to be, well, whoever's kind of getting, if everyone's kind of starting to go in the same direction around me, I kind of pause and say, okay, why are we going in this direction? I mean, unless it's literally towards pizza, with or without pineapple, those are both good things. I'm like, why are we going in this direction? Are we being unfair? Are we being uncharitable? And I just went through basically the actual article, and it's like, all right, yeah, they're talking about the far right. And again, my personal opinion is President Trump kind of missed some one-foot putts. An alternative take is you get asked to do it like a bajillion times about this, not literally, but the standard thing's denounce. It's like, well, he's denounced all these things before, even with the David Duke thing. It's like he denounced him years ago. You're asking him again and everything. It's like, who is this? It's like, he could be trolling. He may have just forgotten or everything, but it's like, these are general things that typically politicians, President Trump is a newer politician, just say, yeah, I denounced this. President Reagan did these things in speeches. It's like, yes, you are not promoting the version of America we like. And again, maybe President Trump was confused. Maybe he had some quote-unquote brain fog, allegedly, if he was coming down with the virus or something. I don't know. I tend to think he's a natural troll because I act a lot of the same way. And I'm like, I'm not sure I would exactly do that if I was president, but then again, I'm not President Trump. But the sheer fact, it's like, you got a 1 foot putt, dude. Please do it, because otherwise you're stirring up controversy. It's like, I don't know. Will this lead to a better result? Who knows? I am hearing cases from other parts of the nation where it's like, if you happen to be in a more conservative area and you happen to be more of a lefty person, you're kind of taking a lot of flack too. Yes, this does go both ways, but at the same time, if I'm easily dismissing things, dude man's got an anarchist flag, and you're reading through the article, it's like, well, they're also targeting law enforcement and stuff. It's like, okay, yeah, that doesn't really sound like the standard conservative or kind of right-wing thing. They tend to be more pro-law enforcement, at least the medic that's going around. It's like, they're also planning on attacking law enforcement. That kind of sounds a little bit more like, I don't know, anarchism, or at least extreme anarchists, because it's like, if you go to pure anarchy, it's like, in theory, again, in theory, if it works, people leave everyone alone. You don't violate the NAP. You do what you want. You live your life. I think there are some folks out there that just kind of want to see the world burn and see if they can actually be the ignition factor for some mass-scale conflict. That's my opinion there. And you know what? I do think we need to admit to this. It's like, all right, were there maybe some kind of right-wing guys in there? Yeah. But apparently, according to some of those tapes, it's like, he ain't a fan of Trump. He's like, screw that guy. That dude's a frickin' tyrant. And it's like, all right, if we're just going to kind of label all these folks, oh, yeah, these are obviously bad people and they're associated with your community, people will probably take offense to that. That's a fair criticism. That's a fair assessment. Because if I'm going to say, well, we need to give folks a fair shake, if I go around and don't give folks a fair shake, that ain't fair, is it? You see how many times you can throw a word with an F into a sentence there. Obviously, a 90s kid, I managed to get away from using like as much. Now I'm going to use it about 24 more times within this broadcast here. Hey there, Mad. I hope you're doing all right, man. I hope things are going well. It's just, anybody, Mad, if you could shoot, I'm not sure, your little donation link. Because anyone that doesn't know, Mad recently, his family lost their home in the recent Oregon wildfires and stuff. So if you happen to have it, shoot it to me on Twitter or something, man, I could put that out there. But yeah, our country is in pain. The one thing, MC, maybe I didn't specify this, but it's like, I have folks that I know, like, their bar's literally been shut down for like 6 months. It's like they were asked for like closed for 2 weeks by the governor. They basically haven't been able to open. Literally today, they're saying things about, here's an idea, how about we open, but only let New Hampshire residents in? So then they go back, and we can still get revenue. But that's the thing. It's hurting all over. And again, I think we both actually agree that we could have handled this far better, rather than the extreme politicizing it. And again, does this happen on both sides? Again, my opinion, totally. Now, even my brother did bring up, he's like, I'm getting sick and tired of some of these Democrats and stuff as well. It's like, if there was any evidence that the reason this was being done is for just political optics during an election year, that sounds like a high crime to me. Now, at the same time, again, I do think the general mimetic and stuff that's put out there. President Trump is a brawler, like you said. People aren't used to that as well. A lot of folks also aren't used to a lot of folks on the right necessarily fighting back. This is something I think I brought up several months ago, maybe a year or so ago. It's like, look at all these leftists doing this stuff. I'm like, all right, so you get folks on the left fighting tooth and nail to get things done, whether it's within the courts, this, that, or the other thing. Now, you might not agree, but they're fighters. That's got me thinking to former Senator Ted Kennedy. He was my senator. Was he a perfect man? Oh, hell no. There ain't too many saints among us. But what was he known for? He was known for being a liberal line. He was a fighter. He was known as an individual that would roar in the set. Okay, maybe, I don't know if he was a furry. I cannot confirm this. If he was, that would be another intersect we had. And you did get me to thinking. We do need fighters. I can sit here and back and just be like, blah, blah, blah. Maybe actually have some passion. Maybe have some freaking emotion. Actually being able to stand for something and actually just rather than be like, maybe do something. Maybe actually try to tell the truth. Get out there, try to get my act together and actually do something that could be positive for the world. Because God knows we need a little positivity right now. And we do need to be able to call out our own. That is the thing. I have stayed my hand a fair amount. There are totally arguments and stuff that I have had that I could have deployed many times that I haven't done. Things I haven't covered. That is a fair assessment as well. But again, we're always going to disagree on things. And I realize you are not a fan of Senator Kennedy. That's perfectly fine. You did bring up some very interesting things, and there are certain things that do need redress as well. I'm talking about the state of the nation and going back and forth, Dave M. That's kind of what we got going on right now. But essentially, that was a little bit of banter. Basically, MC was saying that I didn't necessarily accept that, hey, there are imperfections on the left as well. That's the thing. We can be in whatever camp we want. If we can't actually be fair and criticize our own when this happens, that's fair. But at the same time, we do also need evidence. Were some of those folks right-wing? Wouldn't surprise me. Haven't necessarily seen any evidence of it, no. Kind of just sounded like a dude that was kind of pissed off at the world, got a moving violation that he didn't like, and basically wanted to see the world burn. I look at that, I'm like, oh, so what you're saying is there's actually violent anarchists looking to start conflict? Go figure. That's never been said before. Because all I know is I have news reports that at some of these other protests that at times devolve into riots, that there are anarchists. Are some of them anarchists? I don't know. If it happened in this case, ain't it possible that could happen in some of these other ones? Are there other folks there that are just taking advantage, that just want to destroy shit? Totally. That don't surprise me at all. Governor Whitmer herself, I don't know, people were planning on kidnapping her. That does kind of seem like an escalation, an issue. You can disagree with the lockdowns. That's the thing. There are folks actually hurting there. What are the exact numbers? What is the exact state of what's going on over there? I haven't been following it. All I know is my buddy that works for Apple, he's literally up here visiting because they've basically been shut down in Florida for like, I don't know, probably almost the last 6 months. I remember because I was down there about 6 months ago. When I was down there, it was literally right as this was going out. I remember because I took the picture of the young lady going around doing the free Corona promotion. I was literally done drinking at that time because I needed to drive back. I took a picture of the bucket. I made a little animated video about it. I think it's the world or the year 2020 somewhere on this channel. I could pop it out somewhere there. But the thing is, he's like, "Oh, Massachusetts is more open than Florida." I'm like, "That's very interesting." I thought Florida had a Republican governor. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. All I know is we have a Republican governor. Governor Baker's gotten a lot of flack. We also are in the process of opening up. Have things been kind of strict? Yeah. But then again, we also did start to shut down a little bit earlier and everything. We tried to start to take these situations a little bit more seriously. Because if you looked at what was going on in China, that looked freaking horrible, man. So you try to take your precautions. Now, every state is different. My brother brought this up. He's like, yeah, we also live in Massachusetts. Massachusetts ain't the rest of the country. That's fair. How the heck do we fix this? Well, we need to start being honest with each other and trying to stop playing freaking stupid political theater. Or we could bring back dueling. Yes, I am working on the video. I do want this to be really good. It should be coming out probably within the next week. I need to try to do this as well as we can. But hey, Orange Hat, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Hey, we're all entitled to our opinion. Everybody's different. I do believe politics isn't binary, and hopefully ranked choice voting will sort this out so we don't need to resort to freaking dueling. But here's what it is. That's a quick update for now. So thank you all for watching. Peace out, everybody. Be safe, and long live the elbow bump.